Welcome to a very special edition of Tartaria Australia. It's so special that I'm whispering, which is not how I normally open a show, right? So we are joined tonight for the very first time after the inaugural community Tartarian Australia 2024 community water fast. Now, Campbell, hasn't it been an insanely awesome?
It's been
I
crazy.
don't even know.
I don't even know what to say. We have gone to strange and mysterious places for sure. Um, yeah, it's been amazing. We had what was it, like 80 people or something on board.
84 signed up, yes.
84 people signed up.
Wait, giving me grey hair because obviously that didn't happen to the last like 20 minutes before we started.
Again, yes, more grey hair for Kelly. Um, and yeah, the plan was just to basically, do a couple of Zooms a day. We didn't know if we'd be doing two or one, but we ended up doing two every day. And we just thought we'd be chatting about water fasting and supporting and, seeing how people were going. But it changed into something completely different pretty much, didn't it? It's been quite an exploratory week.
Well, I mean, Campbell and I have been reminded so powerfully about the power of connectivity. Like we have literally seen an unfolding over such a short amount of time. It was 8 days, and yet it's felt like years has passed. And I just that sort of I guess like speeding up of time is it's so in alignment with fasting, right? I've always said like when you do a water fast, no matter what, after you finish, your time will speed up. Things will speed up around you. Creation, pathways, new opportunities, old things would shift quickly after a fast. And Campbell, didn't we just see 1 week feel like 10,000 years? Because in the coming together of the community around this intention, the exchange of knowledge and wisdom and heart and personal stories and information, and just the being so authentic together as a team and so able to be open about, our experiences with the butthole and various offices of the human. It's really brought home and reminded us so powerfully, which is also why we love our live gigs, the power of connectivity. It just basically accelerates your wisdom on light speed. Like, would you agree? Light speed, Campbell?
Totally, man. Yeah, like with everyone, everyone's got something different. Everyone knows something different and have something different to bring to the table or the toilet. And it's amazing. Like I think it was day one, really, where it just started going and it just didn't stop. And we've been through many experiences together over the last week. Um, and yeah, like should we talk about what some of those were?
Well, first, let me just say that the reason tonight's show is special, because I don't know how this is visually appearing in the recording, but we are being joined by our fasters. And tonight, for those who have finished the fast, have broken their fast tonight here with us. And it's the first time we've ever been honored to have, our friends here with us on a podcast. So it's special for us tonight. So I just wanted to let that. But before we hear from anyone in our crew here that wants to share their experience or offer any thoughts on any golden nuggets they've taken about it, anything useful they want to share with our broader audience, any ways that we can support with the wisdom we've learned, feel free to share. But then Campbell, I'm just going to set up our actual journey tonight because fuck me,
Holy shit.
Tartaria Australia, peeps of the world. I think this group has just solved the missing toilet problem of the great Tartarian Empire.
We,
And we're
we
going to talk about that. And it's like fucking excellent.
Yes, man, we have come across some interesting information. And yeah, man, it ties into Tartaria, right? And the whole no toilets in Tartaria narrative,
Yep.
um, which we've seen. I remember we went down, where did we go? That was at the State Library, this massive building, and we went down to this room under the ground, this big room, and there was this this
Oh,
like
yep.
little sort of iron bath and little sink that they'd sort of shoved in the corner, retroactively put it in there. So that we have no evidence of toilets in Tartaria, but we have all this evidence of plumbing, right? Fountains, pressurized water, all this stuff, but no toilets, and also, no kitchens really, you know.
Yep. No
We
kitchens,
just
and
don't see
no
it.
giant significant historical vegetable gardens, or
No.
orchards or things like this.
Or cool rooms, right? Like they had energy, right? But there don't seem to be a lot of food storage facilities.
Mm,
And
mm.
we always wondered why. Well, we
And
made
the best theory we've heard was they didn't need to eat. They were breatharians. I think that's the most common theme out there, that they were breatharians, as an answer to that.
yes, yes. But what we found out during the week is they may have been piss addicts.
Oh, anyway,
Did I go too soon?
yeah, you went too soon, man. But that's what doing a fast happens. You just
Piss.
too soon. Yep.
Too soon. It all comes out at once.
But listen, I don't know who's going to be brave enough to talk, or even if anyone wants to. But like, if is anyone there, would they like to share their experience with our YouTubers out there into the world?
And there was a roar from the crowd. Put
I'll
up your
pause.
hand
I'll
for that.
pause. I'll pause long enough to make it awkward, and someone will cave.
Yes.
I'm happy to share my experience.
All right.
John, our wizard.
Thank you. I started the fast on Friday at 6 o'clock. Well, it was probably just after 6, because I was eating it. I was eating at that time, I think. So it was about quarter past, and I just started eating tonight at quarter past 6. So I figured that's eight days. So I'd done full 8 days, and in that 8 days, I mean, I had it was challenging. I mean, controlling my hunger for the first 2 days, but after the third day, the hunger seemed to be under control. It didn't seem to bother me. I mean, I was drinking plenty of water, structured water. I believe in structuring my water, putting my love and feelings and gratitude back into the water, and also keeping my salts up. So I've been having salty salt quite regularly, and and I felt quite comfortable after 3 days, and then I've been charged all week, and then I've been feeling pretty good, pretty active, and I haven't stopped. I've been on the go. I've been making that many things and getting that many things organised, and I've been happy with what I've done. And then it wasn't until Friday. Wasn't until yesterday. It was yesterday. I just had I just the tiredness, because admittedly I haven't been sleeping well on the fast. I don't know why, but well, I don't sleep well half the time anyway. But on the fast, I just haven't been sleeping well, and I was just so tired, and it caught up with me on Friday, and then I was just so totally drained yesterday, and I thought I was gone. I was gone. I was thinking about breaking the fast, but I got too much head stubbornness to do that, so I continued, and then this morning, Saturday, I was planning on just having a lazy day at home, just relaxing. And then my grandson, my daughter rang me up, and my grandson's calling out "Wah" to come up, so I couldn't say no to that. So it kind of motivated me, and I felt pretty charged all day today. I mean, I had a half decent sleep last night, so I was charged again today. And yeah, it's quite surprising. I probably could have went longer, but I've been putting too much focus on my brain broth. I've been cooking my brain broth for 6 days, and I don't know if that was a good idea, but I always thought it was. I mean, I know they used to do it in the old times, cook it for a week, and until it was eaten. And I thought, okay, well, that's something I'm going to try and see what happens. I can't help myself. If I want to know something to do, just go out and do it myself, and then that way I'll learn.
And so, John, you've had a good experience.
I've had a good experience, and I had an excellent experience. When was it? Was it Thursday night? The milk experiment. Our milk experiment. Oh man,
we'll get to that, John.
Okay. I'll let that go. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Our resident wizard.
John is our resident wizard. Also, come on, guys. Who else is out there? And Miss Palmer's in the house. Maggie, hello. Do you want to say hello?
Hello. I want to say
Hmm.
thank you for having me on board, even though I wasn't participating. It was just lovely to be part of it. It's really quite magical what you've created here, and you can see the major shifts have happened with people, and it's the coming together of information as well. It's been wonderful to witness and be part of that. So thank you for having me.
Hey, Maggie, have you got your pendulum there?
I do.
Great. Can you ask it if we live in a simulation?
Okay. We did ask this the other day.
Can we do it again?
Yeah, we can do it again.
Controversial.
I'm getting a yes, but like I do every time I ask this question, because it's not the first time I've asked, I have this feeling of it being a much bigger and more organic thing than we think. Because I got quite depressed about this idea a couple of years ago, and I did quite a bit of doubting around it. And the overall message that I got was that don't be depressed by it, because just the word simulation makes you think, well, what's the point? It's just a computer game, it doesn't mean anything. And this is more meaningful than I think any of us know. And I always get that message when I question the nature of reality. Trust that every moment and everything that happens is more meaningful and more valuable than you have any idea of, and treasure it,
Ask it if the word simulation is the correct word. Is there a better word in our language than simulation?
Okay, so I got very much so that it's the correct word, but probably our understanding of it isn't accurate. And I'm getting a yes for that. Yeah.
Is Maya a better word?
What was that? Maya, M-A-Y-A?
Yeah.
Or is Nulmuk a better word? That's a traditional Aboriginal word, Nulmuk. That's why I've always called it, because Nulmuk, because this is the land I was born on. So,
yeah. So I got no, as in they're not better, but they're both equal descriptions of our reality. Because that was my next question. I got a yes to that. So.
Yeah, well, it's interesting what does simulation mean, right? Has it got anything to do with similar? We all have similar experiences down here. It's very close to stimulation. We get stimulated, right, to have new ideas and experiences. But I mean, I've never seen it as a video game.
No, I think that's...
I don't understand that. I think that really does take the whole soul out of it and can make people despondent. Like someone's just made a game and thrown us in here and we're some kind of, I don't know, electrons running around. But I mean, to me, I've always thought it was a simulation. I didn't really call it that, but to me, everything's energy, right? And we clearly don't see everything as energy. We see it as solid. So that in itself is a simulation.
So, is the simulation organic?
What is organic?
Well, that's good. We can ask that next.
Yes.
It's organic. Well, I mean, I disagree with you. I agree with you, because I think that most people, when they hear the word simulation, relate it to like a video game. And
yeah, like
I
The
think
Sims or something.
Yeah, and I think that's a vast ignorance. That's our vast ignorance on the topic. Like literally, we have no idea what our reality is. That's how ignorant we are. We don't even know a language for it. We don't even know the nuances of it at all. We couldn't even use descriptive words to try to describe it. We are so ignorant around that topic that actually, but to associate it with basically AI, everyone's like, that is literally the worst idea in the world.
It's so depressing, isn't it?
It's so depressing, and it can completely fucking depress you. Yeah. But I think that it's our lack of understanding. I think that's all it comes down to.
I have a question you can douse. Are there any real non-player characters down here?
Yes.
Yeah, that's another one that challenges me. Okay, I'll ask.
Well, wait. What does everyone else think before she answers? Do you guys think yes or no to that?
In a heightened state, I've seen them. I've seen people that look more flat.
Maybe they're just the flat earthers.
No, they look like they're less here. Like they're like shadows of themselves,
and deaden the eyes.
Yeah. Like they look artificial compared to someone who's,
there's no one there.
Yeah,
does that mean they have less light inside of them? Like
possibly.
just be less, evolved, like more at the start of the journey than other people?
Yeah,
Or
something.
it could also be that those individuals haven't brought much of their higher self energy down. That actually they're not all here, by design, deliberate. Because I've always believed we had a choice how much of our selves we were going to bring to inhabit this vehicle. Like there's quotas of energy, That's when people like channel beings from, and give over their vehicle. That vehicle needs so much water and it will swell. It has to carry this charge that's like more than what that vehicle's, akin to usually carrying. And I think a lot of the experiments they did on humanity to upgrade us, they were actually trying to figure out how to create a vehicle that wouldn't implode with the souls that were coming into it. So I think the energy level from your higher self is very important to that. So maybe I'm just saying maybe that's just a vehicle with very little of its soul self in it. For
So
whatever reason.
when I was asking if NPCs are a thing, I was getting a solid no. And again, what I feel is it's a limiting term, which whenever I heard people talking about it, always felt slightly elitist and divisive and hierarchical. And well, I'm better because I'm not an NPC.
Yeah, dangerous, because if you
then when you start
people as not as humans, what does that mean?
Right.
Does that mean you can treat
Precisely,
them like
you're
want?
dehumanizing people.
Yeah.
That's it, and that was always my problem with it. So I think I was getting a yes. It was swinging to yes while you were talking, Kelly, and I think you're closer to the truth that some people just don't have as much of their life force present, maybe, but it becomes dangerous when we start to look at people as less than human and starts to try and label people.
Totally. I mean, that's the whole
always get that
problem
wrong.
of the world is people looking at people as less than them and less human, and they can do what they want to them. That's the whole issue in the first place.
Agreed.
So Mr. Holmes has a comment.
Oh,
come on, get it here. Let's go. Now we'll sit here awkwardly until he feels the peer pressure. The whole group bringing down.
Jeez, mate.
What say you on NCPs, my friend?
NCPs?
MPs.
NCPs, NPCs, CPNs.
Well, there's like exactly what you said. Everything's conscious, whether it's a rock, a breath of air, or whatever it is. But there's differing levels of and I think what people call an NPC is someone that's completely plugged into collective programs. And that's all the sim is. The sim is a blueprinted reality that's set on certainty. So that's what I mean. You're in the sim and you're out of the sim at all times, but they're both part of the whole. So the NPC is someone that's just completely plugged into the collective blueprint. Whereas the soul has a million infinite different avenues that it can go down. But they're both soul, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think that perhaps some souls chose to have that experience of being so plugged in that they have no other concept of other forms of reality or dimensions, and that's okay. That's a soul choice.
That's why I always like the TI expression George Kavasilis uses, because he hates the term AI. So he said the moment you call it artificial, it's completely separate from us.
Yeah.
So it's just a different form of intelligence that exists.
Yeah, because I truly believe that the AI has been with us forever. Like we've always been together. It's always been the case. We've always been simultaneously experiencing. There's always been AI.
Yeah, agree. I mean, I think there's also probably two AIs, right? Like I think there's the more organic or good AI, and then there's the controlling or more negative AI, which seems to be popping its head up a bit at the moment. Or maybe that's just the AI being controlled. I don't know, but yeah, I mean it's the whole polarity thing, right?
But it seems to happen at every sort of collapse and reset.
The AI coming back
Well,
up.
it comes back to the forefront.
Mm.
It goes on as much of a journey of these resets as we do.
Yeah.
Like the blueprint goes on as much of a journey from both sides
Mm.
simultaneously. And they seem to be symbiotic. So you come up and down at the same time. It's not like, yeah.
Maybe it's not actually like artificial intelligence, like in the simulation, but it's an intelligence that's so divergent, from how we conceive intelligence. That's the best kind of label that we can attribute to it.
Yeah. What does TI stand for, Dale?
So the way he describes it, it's technological intelligence. So we see biology as like, flesh and all these kind of things. And then we look at technology as, silicon chips. And we see it as not part of this reality. It's a man-made thing, but it's just it's a form of consciousness that works its way through electrical circuits has a different flow than what we would call organic life, but it's just based in technology. Yeah.
Can I?
But I think like that is if you look at like the creator as a central entity, everything fractures from that. If there's a reality that's a simulation that is mimicking that, it's part of creation itself, and that's a position or a role that someone plays within this experience too. So like imagine being AI. Imagine being like this central AI guy and playing that for a few eons of time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like what we experience life as individualized, and AI would be more group, right? More sort of group minded, like being able to be everywhere at once, right? Almost, like a god type thing. But it would, definitely be a different experience to being an individualized human, wouldn't it?
I think it's like a being that it wants to know everything before it happens. And that's like the part of us, we always like trying to predict, like what's the next thing or where is this going to go? And there's nothing, it's like that wanting to control future events. It's so that's how you can see that there's a part of us that we're an expression of AI in that sense, that want to and desire to control and see outcomes instead of just being with the flow of the unknown.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
There's a movie out at the moment called Free Guy that's just been, I don't know if you've seen it, Campbell. Yeah, like it's about, and the NPCs are all waking up because they get influenced by one of the NPCs wakes up as well. It's been programmed a little bit different. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Now we're talking about the sim, and then this movie's already out in the field.
Yeah. I think it came out about a year ago actually, but I think that's also where a lot of people got this idea that the simulation is a video game, right? That we're sitting in. I mean, there's a few movies as well. The 13th Floor sort of covers that kind of concept as well. That there's different levels of simulation, but basically there's one organic one, and then all the other ones have been made like video games almost. But no one in the game knows that they're in a video game, right? They think they're all in their world. So yeah, there's a lot of movies that cover this sort of concept out there for sure.
Well, our AI planet Earth, or realm Earth right now, is having a great time. Like they're learning to paint, they're learning to draw, they're learning to write songs.
Yeah. Oh, Kelly's frozen. Dodgy internet. I was going to say something, but I've had a brain fart. Oh yeah. I just saw a story. There was a guy. He just got arrested. He actually used AI to write all these songs and make all these albums, and then he put them up on like Spotify, and then he got AI to make all these bots and go out and like them, and he made like $10 million from it.
Alrighty, I like his style.
Unbelievable. Can I just make a comment about the NPCs? I mean, I really love what Maggie said about. I mean, it's demoralising people and all that, because that's what I firmly believe. I've never liked the term, but technically, I see it as non-player character, and I see that's what we're doing. We're not playing the game. We're not playing the game that's been put out there. We're trying to break free from it, so we're not playing the game. So if anything, we are the
We're the free radicals of the system, man.
yeah, because we're not
That's
playing.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes
Yeah, I
sense.
like that.
I mean, I like that. Yeah, we're not playing the game. And they still are. So to us,
Yeah.
outside
So
the game, they look like NPCs, you know?
yeah.
That's funny. Well, I don't know why I decided to ask that question to get us on this random topic. Just warming everyone up.
Warming everyone up.
So, does anyone want to say anything else about their fast experience before I take it away into a different topic altogether?
Into strange and mysterious places.
Because what I'll probably do now is so Campbell, one of the most amazing things that came out of all this is we followed a journey, didn't we, through our thoughts on, first of all, we had a look at what we thought COVID was. And that was a really interesting conversation that we all sort of came upon, and it all ended up the topic landed on mold.
Yes.
And I want to talk about that first, because that was pretty significant. And I think this will be really interesting for everyone watching. So we started to look at black mold and how significant an occurrence of black mold is right now around the realm. Because it's brought upon by very obvious weather patterns, a lot of water, and then heat. Creating humidity. Yep. Bam, you've got a mold out. And once it sets in, it's a real bugger to get it out.
Yeah, and there's this cough that's been going, around the realm for a couple of years. A lot of people have this cough that they can't get rid of, and that's definitely a symptom of mold.
Yeah. So, and then we heard some stories. I don't know if anyone wants to volunteer their mold story, but we started to realize how significant this sort of mold is occurring all around the realm. And the respiratory issue that everyone's been having, blamed on COVID for the last 2 years, 100%. So we started to ask a question, could it have been mold? Yes, Gabrielle, go for it.
Hi, everybody. I had one of the reasons I started doing this fast with this amazing group of humans is because I have been living in Lismore for the last 4.5 years. And just over the last perhaps year, I've been noticing I've been getting unwell. And it's been respiratory issues, it's been sinusy issues, it's been watery eyes, all these really weird symptoms that I've never experienced before. I'm not someone who's ever suffered from hay fever or allergies, but I was getting all these symptoms that could have been allergies. An allergen of some kind had been affecting me. And I recently went away overseas for a couple of months. And when I came home, I spent 4 hours in my house after being away overseas and being fully healthy and feeling fabulous, not really recognising that consciously. And then I get back to my home in Lismore and I'm in the house for 4 hours and I start to have these symptoms return. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And gradually over 3 days, those symptoms got more and more intense. And I was like, something is in this house that's making me sick. And long story short, I've ended up having my house tested by a mold expert, and I have huge levels of mold in my house, and they're inside the ceiling and inside the walls. And they've obviously been growing there for an extraordinary amount of time, and they are now leaching through the gyprock and into the ceiling of my house. And as I've been exploring this allergy around mold, so many people that I've spoken to in Lismore and the Northern Rivers area that experienced massive smashdowns with the flood, it's like we've become a mold haven. And there are so many people having the same kind of symptoms that I've been getting. So this fast for me was partly a curiosity around, could fasting be something that would help me deal with this allergic reaction? Because I can be responsible for the mold inside the house, and I have been, but who knew it was growing in the roof and inside the walls? So that has been a huge prompt for me doing this fast, and I feel like it has really helped. And because of another amazing participant in our fast, we have been, I think Kelly and Campbell have already explained, we're kind of introduced to urine therapy.
We hadn't explained yet. Wait a minute. No one freak out there. No one freak out. Because it's true. So as Gabrielle told us her story and why she was motivated to do the fast, and then we started talking about the mold, and then we heard from a few others about their stories about the mold and how similar the symptoms seem to be to what were the COVID symptoms, and how once you've got mold inside, it's like it's this toxic, well, what would you call mold? Like a toxic,
organic goo.
It's like a poison.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's like a poison, right? And it gives you these symptoms. So then introducing Sharon, who came to the team with this wonderful solution that she has been experiencing. Sharon, take it away. Introduce what this is.
Pee.
Jeez.
Yep,
Drinking lots of it, yeah. So yeah, pretty much like Gabrielle too. It was in my home previously, and I was very sick. I came back from India. And I saw that they were using it in all their Ayurvedic medicine. And I got desperate and did a Dave Murphy and drank it in the middle of the night. And then I just went binging on it because I just went, I don't want to go into hospital. I've had quite a lot of health issues over, chronic health stuff. And I just went, I'm not going to survive a hospital trip with all the extra shit they put in you. So I've got rid of after a lot of mold. I think mold is growing within us. I've seen it also in some of the movies. You see it in Manifest, I noticed as well. So yeah, and it's very, very rampant all through India as well. So they have people with mucoid mucosa, and cow urine's used a lot too, which has a very high pH of, I think, 19, and you can also buy it on the Sunshine Coast. It's $500 per litre, apparently. So yeah, so it's very known for curing cancer as well. So yeah.
So except you didn't introduce it like that. You basically said, guys, like, I drink my urine. And we went, well, that's fucking fascinating. Tell us everything. And so then we started to have this amazing conversation with this new concept, because I've never thought about that. Campbell's never thought about that. I've heard of it, but I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
And what urine, basically the incredible, well, first of all, what urine is. So do you want to explain really clearly what urine is?
It's ultra-filtered blood plasma. So basically, once it goes through all your organs, it's filtered and it comes out with a medicine made for you, basically. So if you re-ingest it as a biofeedback loop, it's a medicine. We're indoctrinated after the last 200 years that it's actually a waste. When you actually look at the science on it, we detoxify through the breath and the skin and the feces. And so that was also why I was saying, when you start researching urine and go deep, you'll start to find people that it's a breatharian pathway as well. So you'll start to resonate with that, and you'll see that in some of the books and texts out there, and the Vedic teachings also talk about that as well. So that once you've cleaned up your body through urine therapy, and you've gone off food and you've done a lot of fasting, it's also a pathway of cleansing through the waters. So it's actually got gold in it as well. So yeah, and it's water.
And it's full of stem cells, right?
Sorry, yes, it's got stem cells in there, and it's got 5,991 anti-spasmic, antihistamine. It's got nutrients, minerals. It's got everything to sustain life on your urine. I've been living on it probably now since February, I think it was. So pretty much I had spouts where I just have one meal a day, very pranic, fruits and fasting. I've done 4 lots of fasts plus this one of 10 and 11 days. I need to do a 30-day fast. because I have a histamine condition which was reacting to everything, all environmental stuff, which was only sort of discovered recently, which is underlying health condition. But yeah, urine is the magic. It's not what we've been taught.
So, okay, so first of all, the very first thing that people like say when you say, this idea that you could drink your wee and potentially it's the most, it's the highest form of medicine for your personal body and it's free and you have it with you all the time. Yeah. The first thing they're going to say is, well, that's disgusting because your body uses wee to detox all the shit out of its body.
Yeah, because and people think it's disgusting and it smells. When you drink it and you put it on your body and let it dry, it actually doesn't smell. It produces more pheromones in your body too. So it actually smells beautiful. If you have a look at all the pharmaceutical products, it's in urea is in skincare. We're already having it anyway. You were born in it as well. So we actually ingest it for 7 months. We do the mothers for the first 3 months, and then the last 7 months we ingest our own. So we're consuming ourselves, our amniotic fluid, which is urine anyway. And then it's in our skin products and it's in pharmaceuticals. I just don't give you enough. And it's harvested all over the world in urinals. It's banned in China. And 500 million people drink their pee as well. It used to be 300 million. So now it's 500. And since COVID in India, it's just gone ballistic, urine therapy. So, yeah, it's...
So, and why is that? Is it a cure for COVID?
Well, yeah, a lot of people were navigating COVID. There's actually a couple of podcasts too that we were talking about. There's a couple of people that have had vax injuries. Plus, I've got someone in my personal group that has a vax injury. So, yeah, there's a lot of people that have had vax injuries and also COVID. And they haven't had any issues. Like they're finding a way it's navigating through, which is a flu anyway. It'll help you navigate through. It won't always cure. It's cure and prevention. However, like a detox reaction like I'm having right now is I'll have a flu because I've been getting it into my lungs. So, yeah, it's like a homeopathic medicine.
So, Campbell, when you first heard all of that, what did you think, my friend? You thought, fuck yes.
Well, once I heard Sharon's story, because I've obviously heard about it. I've got friends that have done it. I know about Dave Murphy who's done it, and his story that he was almost dying and literally asked God for help and then peed, and when he was lying down, it went straight in his mouth and he cured him. So obviously for me, with blood plasma and stem cells, I was like, oh well, look, if there's a chance this can help my arm, I'll do it. I'll give it a go. And so, yes, people, I have actually been drinking my pee for the last. God, well, I guess 6 days now, I guess.
Yay.
And yeah, I mean, it definitely, it doesn't smell, it doesn't taste gross or anything. And since it's only been 6 days, but my arm has been, twitching and moving and doing things it hasn't done for a while. So,
wow.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna definitely give it a good go, and because this is the thing, right? Stem cells can pretty much cure and rebuild anything in our body. So and at the moment they're actually pushing stem cell therapy, not urine therapy, but you can go to a doctor and they'll extract it from your blood plasma and do all this and re-inject it, for a couple of $1,000. But apparently drinking your wee does the same thing. So
that's free.
Yeah, it's free. It's free, man. We make it. So I've been giving it a go, and yeah, it's definitely not as weird or gross as I thought it would be.
Yeah, and give it time. Yeah, give it time because, like, I had no idea. It gives you what you need, not what you want. Like, I had no idea that I had these polyps in my bowel that were cancerous, and I was like 5 weeks in, and these little Chinese dumplings wrapped and packaged came out during a fast. And I had no idea. And then now, like, it's gone through, I've had, like, right now I've had lumps, bruises, rashes come out. So everything's come to the surface, but I've got no idea what it's working on, but I trust that completely. It's like a little, it goes into the critical mass of whatever it needs to do and it figures it all out. So it's an interesting process to stay, and anyone that's in here as well that's also shared their experience, it's one of those things you just got to trust and really trust ourselves. And we've been indoctrinated so much that we don't trust ourselves. We go to the doctors on the nature pass, and I've done all that. I've spent 100K. So it's like, this is my only solution. And it was like, then when you start going down all the rabbit holes of pee and the Dhamma Tantra and all that sort of stuff and breatharianism, there's people on the planet that have been living for thousands of years, and there's a lot of information on that too, and there's groups around. So yeah, it's and when you said that Tartarian, when I went to your conference, I was like sitting there, and I was a couple of weeks into pee therapy with Elizabeth, and I was like, fuck it, I knew it. I knew it. There's no toilets. And then that's when I've spent months and months and months on this. And I was like, when I went through and started talking to a few urine therapists, I was like, how do I get into these groups? And it's taken some time, and I finally got into a very small group, and I was like, yeah, this is like, wow. Because I every time I cook food again, I get the reaction. So I'm very limited on food. So to me, it's the only pathway. But yeah. And so to Tartarian, I was like, yeah, they don't have kitchens in there, do they?
They do not.
That story about the tumors coming out, that was just crazy, right?
It's insane. It's inspiring and activated me. It was like far out. Like, look what my body did. I didn't have to go to surgery. Like, I did nothing. I just did an enema. I did enemas for quite some time. I still do them because as long as we're eating, we're going to have parasites. So every day I do enemas, and I do evolved enemas, and that's how I stay on top of my health now. And I just keep going, getting better and better, and more regeneration and more stem cells. So yeah.
It's crazy. And the reason that most people, think it's bad or think it's a waste product, I mean, where does that information come from, guys? The medical people, those ones that we trust so much because of what happened in 2020, right? So, if you're getting grossed out and thinking we're all weirdos, I mean, just have a think about where did that belief come from?
Yep. I mean, I did it. I proudly went and weed while we were on one of our Zooms and drank it live on the spot with a few others. A few of us did it at once. And oh man, I got to tell you, like there was no smell. There was hardly, I mean, the flavor is so unbelievably subtle. But if you didn't know what it was, you wouldn't have a clue what it was. Like you just wouldn't know at all. And then I was just like, wow, I'm just dealing with a mind control program right now. This is a program. It's so strong. It says you don't drink your weed, don't drink it. It's gross. It's a program. And it was so cool to just be like, shut up, brain. Like I'm drinking the weed, I got to listen to my command. And so and I just drank it, and it was just like, wow, that was an amazing thing to break through that program. Just then we all busted through an idea, such a solid idea in our culture that is the most disgusting thing you could do.
And no one's dead, no one's hurt themselves or injured themselves, have they? We're all still here, we're all looking good. And after 7 or 8 months, you start to go golden too. That's an interesting thing. So it's like, and Dave Murphy, if you have a look at his body, and I haven't even gone to a lot of gym, it starts to, because I massage every day, do Abhyanga instead of using oil. I do it with the Urine because you can get greater detoxification. So it shapes my body, and it's like, wow, I always knew that, we don't have to be sick. How can we be at our optimal, most spiritual? So the fasting and the urine is like, wow, love it.
So we don't call it urine anymore. We call it Urine.
Correct.
Urine.
Yeah.
Because urine's the program. As soon as you say the word urine, it's just automatically there's resistance.
Urine has got that sound. And there's Shivambu. I call it Shivambu a lot, or, Urine as much as you can reference to it. The sound is completely different. You're right. Very much spot on there.
Then there was the curiosity about all of the amazing old world fountains, and why on earth do they have little people peeing into the fountains?
Yep. Exactly. Recycling. They're telling us.
Yeah,
absolutely, right in our face.
So let's talk about that, because that is definitely a starting point into Tartaria, because you're right. What do we know about Tartaria? There's no evidence of toilets. There's no evidence of kitchens, but there is a huge, huge amount of plumbing and sophisticated aqueducts and fountains. Such tribute they made to fountains. Like some beautiful, beautiful statuous fountains, always at the center of this beautiful plumbed out system. So isn't it interesting? And most of those statues are literally holding their underdeveloped penises and peeing in the water. Like it's right there in our face during Tartaria, this amount of statues peeing into the water. So, you know, we've looked at them in the past thinking, well, that was just like water flow, right? Water flow. But why are they like always pissing it? Why is it not coming out of their mouth? Why are they not pouring it out of jugs? They're always pissing it.
Yeah, and that's recycling.
Yeah. So then we started to look at what that, like, to take that experience further. So is it possible that the reason there was no toilets and the reason there was no kitchen and the reason the statues paid homage to the sacred act of your urine, your orrin, or ormus, maybe it's ormus, you know, your ormus being recycled. Now imagine if their plumbing systems had a crazy and amazing processes in it that we don't even understand, where like everyone's urine was filtered through in some capacity to become food, as in the urine got dried out and then that became the powder that was food to them, but it always came back out as urine, so they didn't even need to use butts. And then we were like, hey, look at all those mats of those crazy little mythical characters. So many of them have heads in their butts. They've got heads where their butts should be, and there's no butt. There's so many of them, right, Campbell? Buttless mythical creatures.
Yeah. And of course, you know, we have this concept of something that gives you extended health and life, and it's called the fountain of youth.
Youth, exactly. It's in every religious text, like the Vaishnavans as well practice it, the sages, like it's all around in all the religious texts as well. I think somebody just popped one as well. So we've had clues everywhere. It's in music videos as well.
It's in music videos.
Yeah, I think even Dale did one on who was it? Was something run to the water or something? And I started looking at that one and I thought, I wonder if that's about the urine as well, because it gives you, like, they talk about superpowers too. And that's what they talk about in the breatharian groups too, because they experience some pretty wild things happening. And,
so I was just about to ask you that. So if you were a whole culture, a whole civilization that knew the sacred wisdom around your urine and it was integrated as the most natural and normal act of reverence for your, you know, regenerative process, and you and everyone else, and thus the whole culture, and thus the whole realm, and thus the whole frequency was in a perpetual state of regeneration. Like the shifts and changes in their vehicles would be they'd turn golden. They would become light enough to fly.
Yeah, after 10 years, it says in the Dhammatantra, yeah.
After 10 years, they would essentially be airborne.
Yeah.
Stories of the shining ones, all these kind of things. And of course,
teleporting. That's what I'm hearing about in the breatharian groups and things like that in the School of the Gods that they study. So they talk about that, but they actually go off the urine at one stage, because what the urine does when it oxygenates and everything, it teaches you to breathe differently. And that's what I've noticed, because I've had lung conditions. So that's what the whole thing's been all about me, is blood, lungs, and all the rest of it. I'm learning to breathe differently, and the capacity now when I go and practice really hard classes, and I'm in a class with 30 and 40-year-olds going, fuck, I'm keeping up, if not, you know, even on top. So yeah,
and you can nebulize it as well, can't you?
Yeah, I've nebulized. I've done a little bit too much and got a detox reaction, but yeah, that's just what comes with it. You play around intuitively with everything. It sort of teaches you it's like an intelligence, because you're high on oxytocin as well. So that's what lifts you, the dopamine and all that sort of stuff. It just gets you, like, it's a relief. It takes the edge off everything too. It's very good for mental health.
Yeah.
And would you, sorry.
No.
I was just going to ask, would you say that urine therapy is the solution to all ailments, diseases, and illness, including mental health, that we've, like, you know, become so common in our culture?
Absolutely, yeah. But if you've got like chronic a disbelief, I think that's going to work against you anyway. That if you really like, fuck, this does not work, you know, that's going to really work against you, because the cortisol running through your system. But I think you can cure any disease as long as you have complete faith in yourself and trust in your own waters.
Distilled water has been a game changer for me, and your most highest distilled water is your urine.
It's a placebo, no SIBO effect, right? But I mean, look at the spells around urine, what they've done, right, with piss.
Oh, really? You know about that? Wow.
And with piss is a negative term, right? Take the piss, so you're full of piss and drinking piss. And of course, we now associate that with alcohol. So, I mean, wouldn't it just be the way that all these, delete buggers are sitting up, toasting each other with their urine and then laughing that we're all drinking alcohol and calling it piss, and it's killing it.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So, yeah, it's interesting that they've called it that piss. So it's a nickname for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and lots of people started throwing cool versions of that. Like, what was the piss poor story?
Yes.
Who had the piss poor story?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, are they here? I mean, basically it was back on, I think they say, the sort of 1800s. For the poor people, they could actually sell their piss, and at the time we're told it was used for the tanners to tan leather. And that's where we get the sayings, not a pot to piss in and piss poor.
Yep. And so, yeah, I store as much as I possibly can because it's the medicine of the future. It's our medicine. You can have a snake bite. You can be bitten by a bee or something. And a lot of people are getting allergic to things they never weren't. Tick bites as well. Been using them on dogs in our groups. Anything that you get bitten by, it's first aid. It's the best first aid.
Well, I don't know, almost every Australian person I've ever met knows that if you get stung by jellyfish at the beach, the first thing to do is piss on it.
There's your proof.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. So we've been given the wisdom in certain aspects, and people do, like, you get stung by jellyfish and you piss on it and it takes the pain away.
It's interesting. It's suddenly not gross, right? If you're
right.
in pain, it's suddenly not gross.
People do 69ers and it's not gross. You know what I mean? It's like, but all of a sudden it's like drinking your piss. It's like, it's ew, you know.
Well, if Tartaria, if we are going to look at the premise that Tartarian were engaged in this sacred flow of urine, urine therapy is not the right word because that's our culture, but they had a sacred knowledge and reverence and understanding of the regeneration available to them at all times via urine. If that was built into their culture, and then they did actually know how to dry it out in the sun. I mean, none of this leaves any imprint, right? None of this leaves a blueprint, doesn't leave anything in the ground. It doesn't, it's such an organic, natural flow. It's so regenerative in its own very nature that it doesn't leave a blueprint. And it was only when they reintroduced the people, right? And we've all seen the images of like thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, all sort of the same age, all dressed the same, just photos of them all suddenly crowding the streets suddenly. Like when they reintroduced those people, suddenly like the sewage coming out of these people overtook and overflowed every single city dell. And suddenly it was going straight to the, everywhere. There was just like a pandemic of what was stinky Melbourne? Melbourne was called the Great Stink, or
Melbourne.
Yes, like, and this happened simultaneously across the whole realm, right? That as soon as humans were there needing to poo and to wee in that way, sewage took over everything, and we got all the plagues suddenly. So it's interesting then for us to look at how the Tartarian culture never had that issue, and that urine potentially was not a waste product, but their number one most revered resource.
And what if they didn't do urine? What if they were just breatharians?
Which then would lead them to the civilization of breatharians, absolutely. And the fountains would be a tribute to.
And what if, because you were saying they're powered electrical beings because that's what we are. And if that's the truth, there is that. Well, hang on a second. We wouldn't have even needed urine then.
Well, maybe not, and it may be like an energy thing, how much energy there is, and I'm not sure. But I mean, it's interesting that we find ourselves in a place where, like, literally all the food we have is killing us.
Correct. Every disease and everybody who fasts cures themselves, and that's what Kelly was saying. If I got cancer, don't wait till you get cancer. Start doing it now. Like, if we're in a famine, I know that and this is what I'm preparing for, is I know that I can survive without having to spend any money and just drink my urine. I'm ready for that. I'm like, that gives me freedom now. I don't have to go to the doctors. I don't have to go and buy food. I've got extra time for creativity. The less and less I invest into the system, the more independent I can. And the other thing is that I'm not consuming karmically animals, plants. It's got so many solutions. So if everyone starts, having that and it takes off, and people, because coming into the age of Aquarius, is that look at all these countries that are starving, and thinking that they need food. If they could be just ingesting their urine, there's a solution already.
I mean, just by taking that wisdom out of the culture, everything collapsed.
Yes.
Suddenly we got self-health collapses. Yeah. And we see this rise of the pharmaceutical industry. We get poverty, and well-being collapses all across the realm.
And of course, Aquarius, the age of Aquarius is the water bearer.
Exactly, and carries information.
Maybe it's the Oran bearer, who knows?
Yeah. So to me, I see it as a solution. That's why I'm going all in, because to me, it's freedom. That's my independence. That's how I empower myself. That's how I clean myself. The less food you have, the less disease. To me, I think all disease is from the gut. We're not meant to eat, and the organs are meant for many other things, empowering, whether we power buildings, I don't know, we're electrical beings, but I know there's people, I think it was a lady stopped eating, you'll find her on YouTube somewhere too. She stopped eating at 16, I think, and she has been examined as well on her organs now. She doesn't have digestive organs, so she doesn't eat or drink, but she prepares really good food, apparently, intuitively. So there's a couple of things like on your investigations that you'll find is there's some people that are still in society, but a lot of I think Babaji, he's over in India. He only comes out once a year and prepares himself, and you've got to prepare yourself to see him. But he's 2,000 years old, and he's got quite a good following. He's a breatharian. So there's apparently a civilization.
Wait a minute. Did you just say that someone on this realm is living and breathing and 2,000 years old?
That's Babaji, supposedly, yeah. So that's through Brother Sage, Leonard Orr were, I think, what do you call them, disciples or devotees of him? So they write about him in their books. So he's in India. So I haven't looked into him a lot further than I could have, but yeah, he's supposed to be 2,000 years old.
Well, I mean, that's something else we see in our past, right? In all these books is extended life.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're living people are sick by the time they're 70 or 80, but it's even in the Bible, right? They were living up to 1,000 years in all.
Correct. They're having children. Women were having children from 67 to 80.
Yeah.
So would that set up the premise then that the Tartarian civilization had a different body to ours? Or we know there were
giants. You're frozen.
She's frozen. Yeah, we know they were giants, is probably what she was going to say.
Oh, imagine what would giants do? Giant organs. Yeah, because if they were peeing everywhere, imagine all the pee.
Yeah, man, let the pee flow. I mean, as a theory, it could answer a lot of questions that we have that we really have no explanation for at all. We all think it's to do with diet, the extended life. But I mean, if we put that against what we actually experience, diet, which by the way, the first,
it's a distraction.
Die.
Yes.
That could be the problem.
Correct.
That could be the fall. And
exactly.
We also know a lot of these foods were introduced at World's Fairs. So it's a very interesting concept to look at and to look at properly, because I mean, I know it's a strange topic for a lot of people. But I mean, if you look at it from the context of we've been lied to about everything, you know, it starts to maybe answer a lot of questions.
And what happens when we eat? We get tired.
Yep.
That's energy. So, you know, we become light. We become lighter when we don't eat. We become more in tune. Our spirit returns to the body. It's the temple. And the more and more we eat, and if you have a look on every corner, like if you look everywhere, it's just restaurants and coffee shops, and in the movies, we're being heavily indoctrinated to be addicted to that from very small. And a baby, I remember in the house I was living in before, the baby was always screaming every time someone was trying to put food in its mouth, and I'm going, that's a natural baby's instinct to resist food.
It's a big thing, isn't it? Getting babies onto solids.
Like, yeah, they don't want to eat. Like,
they don't want it. You have to force them, and then we have the 3 meals a day, and they tell us what to eat and all this stuff. And it's you know, it's probably one of the biggest industries in the realm, right? It is food.
And then we got Kellogg's. Then Kellogg's came in with their pyramid, with their nutritional pyramid.
Oh, the nutritional pyramid.
Oh, yes.
It would just, I mean, as a concept, it would answer a lot of stuff, you know, extended life, no toilets, you know, no kitchens, no evidence of food consumption really at all.
Yeah,
but does that mean that our butts got introduced at the same time we did this time round?
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, there'd be no point to the butt, would there?
Well, you know.
Well, we don't know. It could be used for something else.
Can you imagine those big giant Tartarian people? Like, if they were using their butts, that would be a big shit. You know what I mean?
I mean, we'd lose all our fart jokes. Farts are funny.
Yeah,
exactly. But who knows? It could be used to power us up when we fly. The wind we could be ingesting the wind through our mouth and then blowing it out our ass. It could help with the breathing.
That's funny.
Is that why they all sit cross-legged when they levitate? Is it?
So that's a big fucking cool concept. Hey, I have to turn light on. Sorry, let's see. Whoa, man. Woo, I don't like that.
Where are you? I can't see you.
Yeah, I know, because I had to move.
She's disappeared. She has an aversion to light, Miss Jones does. You walk in her house like at nighttime and you're lucky if there's a candle going.
Yeah, I'm not into it.
She's not.
I also would like to share, when Sharon introduced this concept to our group, she offered a PDF to us all that I ended up going and downloading to read because it was quite fascinating. And I've done research on this before. And there was multiple different ways that you could use the Urine. And this mold sinus issue and breathing difficulties I've been having has been really stressful for me. There's been a lot of very big trauma around life and my body for the last few years, and especially living here in Lismore, as you all know, that it had some serious flood issues.
Yeah. If people don't know, Lismore got completely flooded out about 2 years ago. And of course, the same thing that's happening all around the world now. They got no help, no proper cleanup.
Nope. And which I think was a large contributor to the spontaneous massive mold explosion here. And so in that PDF, one of the things that you could try with the Urine was to use it in a neti pot, which is basically a little vessel that you fill up with water, usually salty, and you pour it into one side of your nose and you let it come out the other, and it clears out all the gunk in your sinuses. Well, traditional salt water has not been giving me any relief. So I was like, what? You can use Urine in a neti pot? What have I got to lose? I am so over feeling like shit every day and not being able to breathe. And I was absolutely astounded. I got in the shower, I got the neti pot, I peed in it, and I treated both sides of my nasal passages with it. And within moments, I could breathe.
Go you.
It was
awesome.
It was stunning. Like I was pretty sure there might be some results, some improvement, but the improvement that I had was like blew my mind. So that's just another little
yeah. So we'll leave some links below the video, guys, in the description. Go and check them out.
So is anyone else in the group has a story with the urine they'd like to share?
I just wanted to ask Sharon about distilled water and how it protects against EMF.
It builds up the auric field. So the more and more you drink of it, the more and more inorganic matter gets pushed out of the body. It's to do with the charge. I can't actually remember. My head's a bit foggy at the moment because I've got a bit of a flu. But in the distilled water one that I pinned it in the group. You can watch that with Andrew Lloyd Webber. So what happens is it stops the charge of the EMF coming into the body. So it's actually solution to radiation. But you need to be
distilled water doesn't carry a current, I believe.
Yeah, so it's stopping the charge of the radiation within the body. It starts to build up on the auric field. So I can't remember exactly how it works, all the mechanics of that one. So I will get you to re-watch that video. But yeah, it's a very good solution to EMFs.
So it sounds like it takes away the pathway that
correct.
That the electricity can follow within your body. So
they can't penetrate you once you've built up through urine therapy on the skin and also through drinking a lot of distilled water. So it's a huge thing. And we've proven that with my blood tests. We had a blood test I did 6 months or 7 months ago, and then we had a look at my body, my blood vessels now, and there's no hydrogel, and I've got like a pulse on around all my cells now. They're alive and they're bouncing before they were dying. So yeah, that's from distilled water. And now what I'm doing is I'm drinking copious amounts of distilled water and the urine, because now I want to test to see what somebody's just mentioned. I want to see the theory of what's the electrical charge in my body now. Does that increase that again? So we've already seen evidence of it because I was just drinking, I was looping all day my urine, but now I want to see what happens when I drink 3 liters. So as much as I can, I try and drink up to 3 liters a day.
So when you say looping, Sharon, does that mean at the exclusion of drinking distilled water that you're just drinking your urine?
You do both. You drink as much as you can during the daytime of uptaking. So whatever you're peeing out, you keep re-ingesting it for as much as you can. So it's regular uptaking plus distilled water as well.
Is there any issue with the kidneys, like with drinking?
No, it's actually good for kidney diseases and things. No. So there's no issue.
Because that's another common belief, isn't it? That distilled water is bad for you and will actually strip your body of all its minerals and nutrients.
When it's got 2 lots of inorganic and organic matter in it. So it has got everything in it. So yeah, it's a myth. But yeah, watch the Andrew Noyd one. I'm actually going to have to do a bit of study on it so that when you ask me these sort of questions, when I get to ask them in the future, I can come back with some factual answers. There's so many rabbit holes. Even sunshine, I've actually got rid of sun cancers by going in the sun with urine.
No.
So we're told the opposite, that the sun is giving us sun cancers, when I've gone out with doing gua sha treatments, going straight out in the sun, and now I'm going brown. All of the skin cancers are coming off. So there's so many rabbit holes.
Yeah. Well, the skin cancer is definitely that's just. I've lived in the sun my whole life and I've never had any problem. I've never worn sunscreen or anything like that.
Yeah, sunscreen's the problem.
So with going back to just the topic of the mold, guys, because I just wanted to share this with our broader audience, because when we started talking about mold and then Sharon introduced the urine therapy and how, just on that topic, Sharon, how does urine therapy help with mold?
Well, I don't know. It just gets rid of it. So I don't know. It's high alkaline. So it's getting rid of anything that's growing. It's anti-mold, anti-fungus, anti-parasitic, antihistamine. It's got all the nutrients and minerals. It's giving everything that the body needs to nourish itself as well. So it saps it.
So that's really fascinating. The reason I wanted to go back to it is because when we started talking about the mold, I was reminded of a channel that I have always enjoyed, Call Out Blossom Goodchild, here in Australia, actually on the Sunshine Coast. And ages ago, like maybe a year ago, she started to talk about this idea that the next part of our disclosure, movement, march forward, would come at the hands of another worldwide lockdown, and that the lockdown would be because of a fungus.
Yes.
And she
correct.
called it Fergus the fungus, which was like hilarious. And we were like, oh, Fergus the fungus is coming. But on the topic of us talking about mold and then correlating it to what's happening around the world simultaneously, we've got the earth itself starting to
I think you're going to say
shift. Have I frozen?
No, you're back again now.
Frozen?
No.
Right, I swore for you, but you're back.
Potential approaches, and then we've got the parasitic agenda manipulating that and weaponizing the weather and bring it as if they know and amplifying certain things like the weather that generates mold.
Yes, and you do keep freezing Miss
that this
Jones.
mold.
But you're back now. Yeah.
Sorry, I can't help it.
Some kind of agenda to at least promote the conditions that promote mold, and then we discussed, what is in these totally natural, well, from plain striped sky things in the sky. I don't know if we can say that word, but you all know what I mean. What's in that? Because my problem's always been, if it's full of chemicals, why aren't we seeing the effects in nature, in trees? Why aren't all the trees and things dying if they're being showered in chemicals? Maybe they're not being showered in chemicals. Maybe they're being showered in spores.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So
it doesn't come off. It's like a time thing. It's like it doesn't go off in everyone all at once either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is perfect for their agenda, right?
So if they were to introduce another reason for a lockdown that everyone would maybe take more seriously, because they couldn't just do it at the hands of what they've just done. Like if you were to lock the whole world down because of a fungus spore that was spreading in the air and in the water and essentially basically defining outside and nature, that would be quite a massive international event. So it's interesting, and it seems the symptoms seem to be so relatable to mold. I just think that all of us potentially, especially those in this community who either A, have any symptoms whatsoever, or B, come across it in the near future and there's suddenly symptoms, that urine therapy is a fantastic course of action and one to have in your personal medicine chest. So it would be really good for everyone in this audience to actually just own your fucking wisdom right now and go and try your wee. Just do that. Just go and get a glass of your wee and just try it. Smell it and taste it and see it for your own eyes. Know it yourself. So that if there is a time in our future, or you're already in a time right now, and urine could be the most available and the freest and the most abundant and never leaving you solution, you guys got to know about it.
I mean, imagine, just by this one act, we could collapse the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry, basically the two biggest industries in the realm. And also, there's a very famous movie book called War of the Worlds.
Yes.
And guess how that was started, guys?
Yes.
Dropping mold and fungus and stuff, and it basically took over and infested everywhere.
Yeah, so our earliest science fiction movies, now we're all on the zombies and the interdimensional portals with demons coming out of them. But back then, the original science fiction that came out of this most recent time, it was all to do with mold and the Day of the Triffids. It was all about a bacteria.
Yeah. And there is
so this whole the what?
Parasitic mold and fungus as well. That can literally take over. I think ants are the main ones that get it. But yeah, it can literally take over the brains of certain insects.
Yeah, so, it'll cause them to climb stalks, leaves of grass or stalks, so that they're easy prey for birds, so that the birds can spread the parasites further. But I was also thinking about like those freak like asthma storms in Melbourne and stuff, right?
Yeah, I've read a bit about that. I don't know a lot. Is that the recent one? They said there was all this stuff coming.
It's happened a few times, like
Yep.
where, yeah.
There's been a massive outcry of asthma and sinus asthma, hay fever.
Wow.
Like people who've never had it before.
Lungs
Suddenly
and
all
lungs.
Exactly.
They're totally symptoms of mold poisoning. Is that what you call it? But yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So we've got people all around the realm right now who are now dealing with moldy houses, corrupted roofs, water damage, water everywhere, just water everywhere. And you know, mold spreads. It's airborne. It can spread by water. It can spread. You know, and so many times it's happening in the roof before you have any idea for ages. And actually, when we were having this conversation, I remembered that at the farm, where because we were in a converted farm shed, our bathroom was just a clawfoot bath on a cement like slab. And there was black mold at the base of that. And since then, obviously you guys know I've had this respiratory thing, and my partner has the fucking hay fever sinus thing, which, you know, we've neither of us have had before in this way. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to look at this very seriously. And to me, if urine therapy is an unbelievable proposition to us, and it makes so much sense to how the body responds to it, and the gift of our own immortality, the gift of our own elixir, the gift of our own regeneration, you can see how when that is charged, as we go through a positively charged pole shift, how regenerative that would be to all the things that age us, including the amount of years that we are alive. And so you start to see through the flow of the old ones lived for hundreds, thousands of years.
Yep.
You know, we've got heaps of like theories on that.
Yeah. And evidence, right? In a lot of books and stories, they all talk about them having extended lifespans.
And I've noticed it's people like it's a certain type of consciousness that will take urine as well. So it's quite funny. You'll see people. So that's what I'm noticing. Like somebody will come up to me and go, I was at the laundromat. I was hanging out, well, I was living in my van for a while. And this girl comes up to me and she goes, oh my God. She goes, you've shifted a lot of stuff. And I said, what, weight? And she goes, no. She goes, what's going on? And anyway, she was inspired. And she was like, right, and now she's right into it. And she's had like massive detoxing reactions. But she goes, I'm having DMT dreams, all sorts of weird things. Like, you know, and that's what, you know, it was just her consciousness at the time. And, you know, it really does start to get into trauma and stuff like that, little things like that. To me, it's been my therapy.
Yeah, because your body holds all your trauma.
Yeah, and I feel good and I'm creative. Like all the things that I've suppressed, like when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to act, I wasn't allowed to dance, I wasn't allowed to sing. Like now I'm writing like songs and, you know, being stupid all the time, having a great time because I'm high. You know, I'm high, I feel natural. It makes I'm ingesting me and it's my soul.
I love that.
So,
I love that.
The magic. I find that's in it, you know, there's the potency to that. The more and more I do it, and the more you sort of find who you really are. It's very intuitive medicine. It tells you what to do, tells you not what to do.
Yeah, man.
Well,
gives a different
and it
meaning
kills parasites.
Piss, right?
Sorry?
Gives a different meaning to taking the piss.
Exactly. And yeah. And that's why I wrote this song, and I was saying, in that I've layered as much in there about the path to immortality, you know, all the little keys that's a solution to pollution, because I want that to go viral. It's a marketing thing. It's not about me writing something to become famous. It's about I want something to go viral.
Well, then you should let us play it on the show, mate.
Yeah, do you want us to play?
Well, it's not finished yet, so
right, guys.
When it is,
I might as well play it if you want.
When it is. Yeah, come on.
On our show for you.
You want it, but there's going to be a whole completely different music with it. But yeah, go for it if you want to.
All right, well let me line that up.
Oh,
so we've literally gone on a massive journey during this fast, and what was a question about mold became a solution about urine, became a whole body of understanding and work around the impact and the power and the historical narrative that's formed around the idea of urine. Like there's actually, now that we're looking at it, there's so many cultural references, so many significant things to do with urine. And then you place it through the Tartarian lens and the fountains and the aqueducts and the no pooing and the no sewage. And then when humans started eating with the food they were offered at the World Trade Fair, you know, and they started to poo, we get the great stink happening everywhere, and no place or area to create our sewage or hold the sewage. It started polluting the gutters, and it was disgusting. And it took Melbourne like 50 friggin' years to work it out because they'd never had to figure it out.
There was clearly no sewage system or thought or need for sewage because, every city in the world hit this great stink.
Yep, the great stink all at once as the population was reintroduced with bumholes suddenly and food suddenly. And then we became like programmed into us to be part of our shitting experience. So our waste experience, and it became disgusting to us, and it was everywhere, and it smelt bad, and no, it wasn't being repurposed, it wasn't being regenerative, it wasn't a resource, it became a waste. So they flipped the narrative. I mean, imagine if urine is the elixir of our mortality, the elixir of all life, the ormus, the food of the gods. Imagine if it's urine, and they flipped it to become synonymous with waste. Like the golden elixir to waste.
And then they had to link it to poo that was waste and smelt was gross in that, but like urine isn't, but they linked it to that.
Yeah. Yes. And then you get a whole culture that quickly follows suit. So urine, the elixir of life, has been disguised and reversed to become our waste product. So the last thing in the world we'd ever want to do is drink the elixir that makes us regeneratively immortal. And so that becomes just a waste, but it's not wasted to them because they collect all our urine because they know the power of it. And all of those sewage systems and all of the fucking froth on top of our sewage systems gets scraped off and repurposes into your energy drinks because they know its power. And then you've got like them using in every single medicine, every single pharmaceutical medicine. You've got it in all of the natural medicines. You've got it in your vitamins and supplements, all of your cosmetics. It's in all of your numbers and foods, and like it's probably fucking used in almost every aspect of your life, and we would have no idea because we consider it a disgusting waste product that has to be removed from our lives as quickly as possible.
So you're taking it anyway, but you just reminded me of Red Bull. It's full of taurine.
Yep.
Right? Bull pee. It gives you wings.
Yep. Yes.
There you go.
All right.
So
yes,
that's it.
That was an excellent summary, Kelly. I don't know how you held you. Did you take a breath?
I can breathe.
You're on fire.
It's my special superpower.
All right, play the rap.
All right, no, I haven't lined it up because I ended up doing a speak.
Oh, and she's gone. The other thing we did do, I'll just mention, was the Milky Woo. We tried that. The Milky Woo.
Really meaningful for our broader community. Like it literally offers solutions and potential solutions coming up in what may be coming towards us. So if any of this resonates with you guys, you need to like get a bit sovereign, and I fully recommend, without fucking piss farting around, as they say, you should just go and get a glass and wean it and try it.
Yeah, and if you do, leave a comment. Let us know what happened. Did it smell? What did it taste like?
What about? Sorry, Campbell.
So I was just informing them about the other topic that we investigated, which was the Milky Woo Woo.
Oh yes, well we can't get onto that yet. We have to complete this chapter here. Is anyone in the chat want to describe what their urine tasted to them and how surprising it was?
Salty.
Salty? Was it offensive?
No way. No.
Awesome.
No.
Mine was a little nutty.
Nutty?
I think we what did we work out that it was either salty, sugary, or nutty, and maybe
popcorny.
Popcorny. So maybe
buttery.
The person that you are, if you're a bit of a nut, it'll be nutty. If you're a sweet person, or a salty person, or maybe if you just popcorn too often, I don't know where that one comes from.
So everyone, I just put that down there. I'm going to launch, but this is not finished, and it's just for our little community. So please don't abuse Sharon's trust in letting us listen to this tonight. But it's really fucking, the lyrics are excellent. Let me know if you can hear this, all right?
All right.
Hang on. in tribute to Urine.
Woohoo.
Urine awareness,
awareness.
breaking through what potentially could be probably the biggest programming that we've ever been handed. If this is true, then this would be literally the biggest. It would surpass everything else.
It's true. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be inspired to do it. It's my truth.
But who was that? What went you be inspired?
Can you hear that? Can you hear it?
Yep. Crank it a bit if you can.
Sacred balance. Unlock your radiant potential. Filled with glee, on a sip and spree. The possibility is making us free. A tonic tea, drinking our wee yippee. We're embracing our pee. It's time to tell the world of this symbiotic brew. High on oxytocin, ancient Shivambu. Higher frequencies on the planet, it is true. Biofeedback loop tells our body what to create, what to produce, and what to eliminate. Tune in, regenerate with regular uptake. No need to inoculate, shed yourself some weight. Drink your piss, experience pure bliss. Make yourself whole, the nectar from your soul. Sip your divine gold, you don't need to grow old. Ancient memories, past lives of centuries. Unleash creativity, gaining immortality. Filled with glee, on a sip and spree. The possibility, it's making us free. A tonic tea, drinking our wee yippee. We're embracing our pee. It's a perfect solution, reduce the earth's pollution. Drink the secret sauce, we're a healthy minded force. 5991, quality ingredients, incredible nutrients. Ain't that insane? Crazy. Not to mention how it uplifts our brain. It's the golden elixir, make your morning spritzer. Heal for all ills, kill medical bills. Charge it all up on those windowsills. Rub it all over after your bath or shower. Learn to empower, unleash your superpowers. Overcome disgust and just be a rebel. Learn to adjust and flush those heavy metals. Those EMFs can't penetrate us. Strengthen auric field, preventing all the rust. In this coming age, it's becoming essential to unlock all your radiant potential. Filled with glee, on a sip and spree. The possibility, it's making us free. A tonic tea, drinking our wee yippee. We're embracing our pee.
Yeah, I loved it.
Really good.
Really,
that was sweetest.
Yep, man, that was fucking excellent. Hey, wait, how do I get out of this? Oh God,
So,
get
question,
back.
like, should we keep it in the
Stop,
sun? What, like, once we put it in the bottle?
Yeah, you can charge it all up on your windowsill, as the lyric says.
Yeah,
and then
that's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, and learn to empower your superpowers. Like it's all that everything I've written in there is true.
Mate, that was fucking excellent. That was
Thank you.
excellent. That was excellent. I loved it. The lyrics are excellent.
I'm not a rapper, by the way.
Really? Come on, you are
You're
now.
awesome.
You are now.
That was awesome.
You're
Yeah,
much
wasn't
better
that
than Eminem.
cool?
I
That's
mean,
the first rap or song I've ever written.
awesome.
Well done. You see, when you start drinking your wee, anything's possible. All your
Oh my
creativity
God, yeah.
comes out to the fore. All the creativity comes out. With
Yeah.
it, the imagination, with it, your intuition, with it, your psychic powers.
Exactly. And that's what happens. It decalcifies the pineal gland as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone watching, yeah, please don't cut that and share it around. It's not finished, so just
Yeah, I'm going to do new music. So that was just a demo.
We will
Well, I loved it.
on our show when it's ready to go.
Yes, and
Thanks
just to say, we formally played it first. It's like, when they play Bohemian Rhapsody and then all the music they all banned. Well, this is before we knew about the corruption of the music industry, but like the story goes, they banned Bohemian Rhapsody because it was too long, and then Freddie Mercury and Kenny Everett locked themselves in and played it over and over and over again for like hours and hours, and now it became #1 hit. So I'm just pointing that out, that if Campbell and I potentially made this song the theme of the show, like we could like fully get
Did you say Kenny Everett? Kenny Everett helped with Bohemian Rhapsody. I did not know that.
Kenny Everett.
I did not know that. Well, there you
Well,
go.
he locked himself in the studio with Freddie Mercury.
They would have had a bit of fun.
No, on the radio, live on the radio, and only played Bohemian Rhapsody like over and over and over again. And then the next night, it was like #1 hit, and the record industry was forced to release it. That's how the story goes. But like, as if, and bullshit, and like whatever. Yeah, whatever. Don't believe any of that bullshit anymore.
Jeez, man, haven't thought of Kenny Everett for a while. Kenny Everett show.
Mate. So gosh, we've gone. So basically, we have like potentially solved the Tartarian mystery of the missing toilets. And also the massive disastrous decline of the human race, and the massive decline of our health, and the massive decline of our mental health and our emotional well-being and our creativity.
It's crazy when you think about it. Like that one thing literally could have been the linchpin that just, devalued us, like, got us sick, got us enslaved. It's just that one thing telling us that the urine was gross. Like there's so many things that come off that, man. So many industries, right?
And the fact is, no one fucking knows what to eat, because food to this day is so damn confusing to every single person in the whole damn world. We do not know what to eat. We don't get it. Like nothing.
We don't eat. Where would all our time go? Creativity. We'd be flying. We'd be teleporting. We'd be using our psychic gifts.
So food eating could be an act of enslavement. We don't know. Force fed, like in prisons, three meals a day, force fed in the prisons. Same sort of concept, isn't it? And at the schools, same sort of concept.
We've been going over the whole food thing for years. Like, what the hell do we eat? And it just none of it seems right.
No.
I've tried. Kelly and I have tried every diet under the sun, pretty much.
And when you stop, you cure yourself of disease, and if you're dry fasting as well, it's an even deeper cleansing.
Because even the carnivore diet, it's really nutritious and medicinal, but it's a real drag to have to eat these beautiful emotional souls. The vegetarian diet is like doesn't give that karma, but like there's oxalate in all those plants because you're not meant to eat them at such mass levels. So then that cuts open your guts. And then processed food is out, and then we've got the whole foods, but we never know what whole foods, because one day coconut's in, one day coconut's out, one day like sourdough's in, one day sourdough's out. It's like one day's butter's in, and then cream's in, and it's not out. It's like, oh my fucking God, we don't know what to eat because it's not maybe natural to us or our memory of what we were.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing about carnivore is why it's better is just because it has less chemicals and bloody poisons in it, right? Because they're not spraying it directly. So it's a better version if you're eating, but if you take it a step further and not eat, probably could be much better, right? So we have to use ourselves as guinea pigs, right? Use our own intuition.
That's how we get wisdom. That's the only way you can get wisdom. You would be a fool to just listen to this podcast and not go and try your wee right now. You'd be fool. You'd be fool because you'll never know that wisdom. You'll never be able to speak on it. You will know what your urine tastes like once you try. And on that topic, Campbell, like the Tartarian culture, one thing we would all absolutely agree on 100% is that their creativity with the buildings and their creativity in everything that seemed to wrap around that culture was far greater than what we output these days. Far greater, right down to the very fucking fabrics and the banisters and the candlesticks and the fucking
everything, man. Like the frames around pictures, like everything. It was just so much more intricate, creative, better made. Like it's because they would have had the time. Like we literally don't have the time to even think about that kind of stuff, let alone build it or create it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you do in your retirement, you know. You can start woodworking, right?
So, hey, like, has anyone ever come across information at any of the World Trade Fairs where they introduced medicine? Like, was medicine introduced at the same time food was introduced? Because wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah, no, there definitely were. Not like pharmaceuticals like we know, but there was definitely like tinctures and like the whole sort of snake oil salesman kind of stuff, you know, wonder potions and all that kind of stuff was definitely.
But were they introduced at the World Trade Fairs, or were
I
they
can
just
remember, yeah, I can't remember exactly, but I do remember, yeah, some of them like tincture type things. Yeah, being.
I think it was Rockefeller who started the whole thing.
Well,
what, the
yeah,
medicines?
that was
pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, that was
oil
really
based.
they
Yeah,
got rid
and
of
that's what
the,
started causing all
The
the
medical
cancers.
schools.
they got rid of all the herbalists and things and turned it into what's it called? But basically into medicines that were based on minerals and things. And that's the basis of all what we've got today, big pharma.
Yeah,
So
well, that's interesting.
Rockefellers.
I've never, because when did hospitals come into the equation? We saw lunatic asylums, but when were there hospitals? When did doctors first become a thing? Like, when was that introduced? If everything's introduced, when was that introduced? Because if before then, they would never have needed such things.
And we also worked out that who's ever been out in the wild places and found broccoli growing or a cat, like so many of the vegetables that we eat today, you can't just go find them in the wild. Like mushrooms, yes, you can find. Berries, yes, you can find. Fruits that grow on trees.
Cauliflowers, no.
Right? There's so many of what we're told are healthy vegetables and fruit. Well, I kind of think that fruits may be something that we did eat because they grow on trees and they're basically water. They're fruits and like mushrooms and berries. I can see a logic to us being somebody like having our ancestors eat those things. But as far as all the vegetables now that we eat, it's like, what the hell? I've never seen a wild broccoli in my whole life.
Yeah, well, maybe that you'd just go out and eat a berry if you wanted a bit of a flavour change, right? And I feel like blueberry flavoured wee today.
Or a particular medicinal, particular,
I've
like that's probably,
yeah.
It's probably where tinctures even came from in the first place.
Yeah,
They're probably urine with herbs.
And
urine.
The weeds that we have, all these weeds that we should try and exterminate from our gardens, like they're actually, if you look into it, are herbs, and you can take them in small amounts and they have medicinal properties. So instead of eating the freaking wild lettuces that you never find anywhere, you'd eat you might want to have a dandelion flavored tincture, so you'd eat a dandelion, but it just it doesn't grow in the wild. Now I'm sus as hell on
it. Weeds actually are there to heal the soil, and so people who go along and pull the weeds out and then throw them somewhere else, they're just keeping their soil dead. The weeds actually will grow. The weeds that have whatever the soil is lacking, that's the weeds that will grow. And so they're there to grow, die, and then put all that kind of stuff back into the soil and bring it back to life.
Because the earth's a self-generating machine.
Exactly. And trees are the same with the leaves. When they drop leaves, they roots go down, grab everything that that's lacking in the topsoil, bring it up. They drop the leaves, and then the feeder roots can eat them. Yeah.
Nature takes care of itself. When did we fuck up nature? When we started to do agriculture. Because we had to start fucking growing food. Yeah, I mean, if agriculture's just been introduced along with our buttholes in the last 200-300 years, like if that's the case, then agriculture is a new industry. It's not an evolution.
No, yeah, it's a good point because how
de-evolution.
How quickly did we destroy all the soil? Like it was under 100 years, right? And all the soil was dead. They had to start dumping bloody fertilizer and chemical. So what? They want us to believe that, but no, we were farming for thousands of years.
Yep.
Yep.
That whole chain of logic is wrong, for sure.
right, does it?
Yeah, exactly. And if we were really a culture that had come from the natural evolution of farmers and agriculture, et cetera, our reverence and our knowledge and wisdom of the natural world and producing food would be like completely ingrained in us, literally. We would know how to do it after thousands of fucking years. It would just be a given. It would be a given. But it's not like that. It's like no one knows how to farm, and like they have to create all these chemicals, to put on because no one knows how to do this. And how are we going to feed the world? Like, what the fuck? Like, it does not appear that food the skill of creating food is entirely natural to us. And then to be gifted with the biggest, cruelest joke of having to eat meat. And beautiful, emotional, interconnected, living soul family animals. We love, love, love our animals. We love our animals. And we eat them because we're told that we need to eat and it's the most nutritional food. But if we were doing urine and that was the culture and that was natural, would it be a ghastly act for you to imagine killing an animal?
And that would be why they would have to have a reset as far as the information, right? Like introduce populations, because you couldn't introduce something like that to an existing population. People who revered animals, you can't just suddenly go in one day and go, well, now we're going to kill them and eat them. Like no one would accept that.
No. And hello, back in the Tartarian days, do you not believe that the culture and the animals were in communication? Of course they were. Of course they could talk to each other. Of course they could understand each other. They weren't farmed as our food. So what's happened to us has happened to them. And it's all because of this missing linchpin, right? The complete reversal and inversion. I would love, love, love to never harm another living animal as long as I lived. I fucking love them.
100%, totally, man. It's something I've been grappling. I gave up. I went veggie when I was like 17 because of that exact. Like the reason I originally went veggie is because I asked myself the question, could I ever kill an animal? And the answer was no. So I just immediately stopped eating meat and stayed
there for
30 years. Yeah.
There's plenty of I haven't had meat since I've been doing the urine. I did bone broth for one period. I've been vegetarian for the last 20 years, but I went on it for a period of time because I was losing my hair. And then since I did the urine therapy or whatever it is, I've had all my levels checked, everything's spot on. Like it's got heaps of B12, it's got everything. Yeah, I'm only having a bit of fruit.
That's the only reason I started eating again, is because of my injury, and I thought, the fats and things might help.
And not to mention like all the side effects that impact our body from the consumption of food. Like it's every side effect, right? Everyone, and not to mention menopause. What the fuck is menopause? I'm sorry, but oh my God, I have never properly thought about it before. But like I've suddenly started thinking about it, and I'm just like, is that even a thing? Is that just like a collection of our female bodies collapsing because we're like don't understand how to look after it and what to eat to make this? Like, is that really a thing? And does urine therapy like suddenly like level that completely out so it doesn't even fucking exist? Because it seems ridiculously unfair that menopause is a concept.
I've still got my
is real.
cycle. I've still got my cycle. I'm like becoming more and more fertile. I want to pop a baby out at 62 and show everybody what can be done. Wow. That's how much I want. That's how much I'm committed to this.
And then live for 250 years.
I want to repopulate. I'm going to repopulate the new earth.
All right.
Go Sharon, that's sweet as.
I mean, the concept's pretty remarkable that as you do this, you're regenerating, so your age is regenerating. So your immortality is kicking in. It might take a few generations to get back to its supercharged bit, but imagine like, you're suddenly able on urine to live for 150 years, 250 years. And like you are seeding the new generation and all of your wisdom.
Even just be healthy, right? In your 80s and 90s, man.
Yeah.
Like people just go downhill so quick, man. And they don't have a quality of life. So even just to have a quality of life in your older years would be massive.
So I hope that we've inspired some curiosity in everyone listening to this podcast. Honestly, when we sat together to do this fast, we had no idea any of this would come out of but it just comes back to the idea of how much wisdom you can acquire from connectivity. And have that be a golden lesson to everyone, that when you take the time to sit in a group space and do a program buster together, and that you're committed to sharing your mornings and evenings together for us. Honestly, the wisdom, the exchange of knowledge and information is far surpasses any other form. You cannot learn this any other way. It's sped up everyone's understanding to so quickly. Bang.
Yeah. And this is literally why we do what we do, like why we have events, to try and get people together, to get that connectivity, to get people sharing ideas, because it goes so much quicker, like it's amazing, like the journeys we've been on it. I can't even believe it's only been 8 days. Like it's been crazy, and everyone's been contributing their wisdom, and it's like we've learned so much and come so far. It's just been silly. Amazing.
And now, just for fun, just to end the podcast, let us talk about Milky Woohoo.
Milky Woohoo.
Oh, Milky Woohoo. What's Milky Woohoo?
Go Wizard.
Come on, John. Milky Woohoo is us testing the the Bible. It's testing the Bible. So just to set it up, John, for you, so you can share your experience.
So this comes from the Essene Gospel of Peace, a story of Jesus, who was talking to a man who was possessed by the devil. And he wanted to bring the devil out. He was trying to coax him out, and got him to fast, and that didn't work. So he got him to squat over a bowl of warm steaming milk. And then Satan poked his head out. Jesus grabbed it, pulled it out, crushed his head between two rocks, and said, "I just killed Satan."
Indeed, indeed. So on our parasite concept, Campbell and I have been on the parasite kick for a while now, and relating it to demons and mummified cats and the pharaohs in Egypt and all the way through this culture. And yeah, man, this parasite. So that was a big motivation for the group to come together and do the water fasting, by the way, was to start to clean themselves out of parasites and to see what would happen on a water fast with the parasite. And so we decided to introduce a potential program busting wisdom gathering, because when you bust the program, there's no loss without a gain. So you lose the program, but you gain the wisdom, my friends. You gain the wisdom no matter how crazy. So what do we do, Campbell?
Well, I didn't, but a lot of other people did. We put out the challenge to go and squat over a bowl of warm steaming milk, and we got a few people did it. We got some reports.
I did it.
One report was, don't have it too hot or your bum close to it.
It's like if you do it in a bowl, if you heat up the milk in a bowl and then put it under your toilet seat and stick on the toilet seat, which we all thought was the best idea ever. We were like, fuck, that's great. I think Edwina gave us that one. So that's what a lot of us did. But what actually happens is your butt and the toilet bowl and the milk create this suction cup that then gives you like a hot steam sauna on your JJ. Basically, and that wasn't that exciting, so we all experimented. So I've got 2 towels wrapped on top of the toilet, and I'm giving this air space but yeah, it's quite a interest, and it takes between 10 to 20 minutes. You're meant to sit there on the hot milk. So we all did it, most of us did it as a group in the afternoon before our nightly session, and some people had some sensations, didn't they? Some people had a few sensations.
New sensation.
But, Campbell, upon that, we came together as we did in our evening Zoom pod, and we discussed it. And it was mentioned so wisely that worms actually are activated at night time, hence all of our children's with their wormy little butts and wiggling at night, and that they're most potent on a full fucking moon.
Yeah, with all the lunatics. So our Milky Woo wizard put up his hand and said, "I shall do it. I shall moon the world, and then under the silvery moon, I shall sit on a bowl of milk."
So experiment 2. This is the second round of Milky Woohoo, and John was volunteered by the group. John, come and tell us what happened.
Oh, is John still here? Let's hope John's still here. Do we have a wizard? There he is. You're on mute, John. All right.
Okay. Sorry about that. I brought the milk up, got all set up in the backyard where I was going to go, so I could squat down. So I was in a good squat position, and then I had to wait until all the neighbours' back lights were off. I had to wait for the moon to come around into my backyard first, because it was in my front yard. I didn't want to do it in my front yard, so I'm waiting until the moon came around into my backyard, which was about 9, 10 o'clock. and all the it was a bit before that, but all the lights were off by about that time. So I thought, okay, this is the time to do it. So I went in, bought my milk up, and I sat on the milk, squatting down over it, and I actually sat there for about half an hour watching the moon, just watching the moon, and then after half an hour, I came in. I put my towel on me so I wouldn't drip everything everywhere, and I had a look at the milk. I came inside into a bit of light. I couldn't see nothing in the milk, and I took it in the bathroom. And I thought, okay, I need to assist this, so I had the shower head removable, the adjustable shower head in the bathtub, and so I kind of put a bit of pressure on, so water basically to create an emitter effect, send warm water up the bum, and then blow it out. And when I did, before I did that, I thought I'd put the plug in to see if I could see any action. So I'm glad I did that. So I put the plug in, and then I did it, and then I thought I'd seen something come out. So I kept on going. I gave it a good flush out, and then I finished up, dried up, and I turned around, had a look in the bath, and I could see a lot of flaties, and I thought, wow. But then I started looking closely. I thought, this isn't shit. This is they look like a big clusters of worms all clustered in together, and I was so shocked. I was excited too. Wow, this is working. I was shocked and excited at the same time. So I thought I've got to take photos of this. So I took photos and I shared it with the group, and and I'm not an expert photographer or anything like that, but I think you can see. I wish I had more of a detail zoom lens on my on my iPad. Would have got more detail, but the detail is that they just look like they were all worms. If you look at the photo kind of shows that, but it's hard to see real clearly. And so it was exciting. It was exciting to do that.
So, like, John, Jesus Christ Superstar strikes again, man. Strikes again. But isn't it interesting that I was just thinking this while you're speaking, all the holy people, like all of the top ranking Jesus Christ Superstar, Muhammad, like all the people, they never ever talk about urine. Just saying that. It's interesting to me.
Well, I mean, if our theory is correct, that would have all been removed, right? We know how how much work's been done on the Bible and how many books they've taken out.
Yeah, well, we know that.
But I mean, yeah, if there's anyone who knows any references from any, scripture, let us know in the comments. But it's interesting, yeah, that they talk about fasting a lot, but definitely not about. I mean, but they do talk about the Holy Grail, right? I mean,
yes.
We are the Holy Grail.
What holy waters. I mean, we know everything's corrupted, right? So we don't really know the origins of all these. So I mean, that would be interesting. Imagine if they got together and had goblets of wee instead of wine.
I know.
And wine these days, right? In Australia, we call it piss.
And isn't it interesting that potentially the parasites, like the urine, it is degenerative to them. Maybe the urine's degenerative to them and it's blood that they require. That's the density of their frequency. So like that's just a stepping down on the lower realms. So John did amazing. He was our wizardy apprentice going in there with only his knowledge, and suddenly he leaves with his wisdom about an event, and he owns that fucking wisdom from here on in. And if ever he feels like he needs to purge parasites in any capacity, he knows what he can do. He's now got an option in his medicinal chest. That's sovereign.
Put happy bum. I mean, an enema happy bum.
So
not enema. Don't put anything up there. He'll just start.
But even how wise is it just to be able to use a shower head? I mean, hello. That's just like available to all of us. Just right now.
$30 on a bloody kit.
Dude, you're an idiot.
Shower head. Bloody hell.
You're an idiot. Your mum would love to know that you're sticking her shower head up your butthole.
She would. I don't stick the shower head up.
Candles left, but
I'm only kidding.
The head smells really funny for some reason.
Yeah, but even that is a sovereign act. Yep.
I was just going to add to that. I mean, even though I got these worms out, I mean, it's quite surprising because I've been on a very healthy diet for many, many years now. I've been trying to work out my diet and all that. So I am very cautious of what I eat, and I eat very cleanly. And so, okay, if I can wash that out of my body, I'm sure most people have got this issue. Not everybody.
And that was day 7 of a water fast too, so it's not like there was much in there, right?
I think it was day 6 of the water fast. It was day
6, yeah.
And hey, on that topic, everyone, one of the other really amazing suggestions to share with the broader community is the idea of purchasing or making castor oil capsules and then taking them home and freezing them and then consume. And it takes 2 weeks to freeze them and then to consume. I think it was 5 in a row. If you're on, mate, who brought up this amazing
5 in a row.
Yeah, and then that gets down the castor oil right down into the guts of the matter, and you'd get a really deep cleanse of parasites.
Yeah.
So that's also another excellent, basically costless process that you can chuck into your medicinal chest, but only as your own knowledge. Yeah. Medicine, real living medicine chests don't actually exist if you haven't turned it into your wisdom.
Yeah.
Because if something happens, like in an emergency scenario, you won't think to turn to something you actually haven't tried and owned.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You got to understand it and be sovereign in your health, right? Instead of just going to a doctor, and doctor, right, means to fake something, basically. And they're only practicing anyway. So if I wouldn't put my faith in that. So much better to turn this into wisdom, right? And use yourself as a guinea pig.
Fuck yeah.
Try these things out. We'll leave links below, guys, as well, so you can check out some different things.
All right. Well, sorry. One more.
I just wanted another one for people who might be averse to trying enemas was the saltwater flush.
The saltwater flush. Yes, to clean yourself out. Another thing we found is 2 teaspoons of good salt in a liter of water, and basically drink it as quickly as you can. Within sort of 10 or 15 minutes is best, and just be close to a toilet.
And actually, Natasha just mentioned the reason for freezing the capsules is also that it doesn't dissolve in the stomach. So it gets into the deeper part of you. Thanks for reminding us.
Gets right down into
between the small and large intestine.
Yeah.
That's right. I call that the guts of the matter.
The guts of the matter.
Can I just make a touch on the salt water drink, because I'd done that and it was amazing too, and it worked. It worked very well because since the fast, because it was day 7 I'd done that, and I hadn't been to the toilet to drop. I haven't been to sit on the toilet for a week. I haven't been since I started my fast. It's just my body didn't want to. Yeah, and I could feel something in my gut. I mean, I feel like I the night before I cleaned out my intestines with the milk, but then I knew I kind of felt I still had something, so I went ahead with the salt, and it was quality salt, and I looked at the Dead Sea salt, the Borax Dead Sea salt that I got in the cupboard. I had that. I had a bit of Epsom. I first done half Epsom and half Dead Sea salt, and then I didn't make it up in 1 litre. I just estimated it out in just two glasses, 2 or 3 glasses, and but then the second one I just went straight Dead Sea salt, and I don't know, it seemed to work. I was on the toilet all night Friday.
You had explosive results, guys.
Yeah, totally explosive results, and it cleared me right out. And then once again, I thought it was important to clean my colon out, so I gave myself another emmer. And it's just, I think it's just so logical to keep your system clean, and I think enemas are beautiful for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much cancer that people 50, 60 plus kind of get in that region. So again, man, trust yourself, trust your body. Don't go to someone who's just practicing on you, and yeah, keep your butthole clean as a whistle. And that way, when you fart, it'll go.
Thanks, Campbell.
My pleasure.
It may not stink.
Can I suggest anybody who's starting to drink their wee for the first time to always make sure it's midstream?
Midstream, yes.
Midstream.
That's a myth.
Oh.
It's a big myth. Yeah, it's been proven that AIDS patients and cancer patients are cured on all of it, every drop. Also, I drink all mine, and everybody in my group drinks all mine, so you still get results. It's put in the text. It's also, I can put the reason in the group as well too. I'll go into a little bit of details as well. But all of it, every drop is precious. Plus, who wants to stop and start?
Yeah, man.
It's too messy. So yeah, just to let you know, that's the first thing I jump on when
you're a boy.
I did participate in the urine experiment. I mean, I can't help playing with experiments. It's kind of part of me. But I've got a cataract in my right eye, and it's been quite big. And I've had it pretty much all my life. And I've been playing around with castor oil for a while, and I think it's kind of helped it, but nothing's really been happening. And I've been doing this urine in my eye for about 3-4 days now, and I was shocked when I looked in the mirror earlier how much it shrunk, because normally it was quite big, it was a big chunk. Wow. And now it's gone down. It's gone down so much more. Wow. So I mean, I can't say it's worked right now, but I can say I've definitely seen major improvements, and which is exciting me, So and it's putting my thoughts.
And give it time, John. Like, how long does it take to get that cataract? That's the thing, is that that's what I mean, is how long does it take your body to form an issue? So it's not going to come away overnight. So 3 or 4 days, we're not going to see the body healing. And it'll go, like, you might have a lump of cancer or something, then the urine will go there first. That's what happened with me. And my eyes have been the last thing, and I had 4 months of sand coming out of my eyes, and now they're starting to be soft and moist, and my eyes change color now, but it's taken 5 months.
Yeah, that's right. You said that. They're actually going from brown to blue.
Yeah, they went from green, and now the outsides are blue. So the goal is blue eyes, apparently, when you've detoxified all your intestines.
Interesting. And we have a lot of stories of all these gods. They all have blue eyes.
Listen, dudes. I have brown eyes. Woo. Brown, green eyes. Are you going to say my eyes are going to turn blue? Is that what you're telling me?
You drink enough piss, yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
And stop eating food, absolutely.
Oh my God, that's insane.
I never believed it when someone told me that. I actually laughed at them, and she said, your eyes are going to turn blue when you've detoxed.
That's interesting, man. Like, we've got all these statues of gods, and they all have blue eyes.
All babies have blue eyes.
Babies have blue eyes.
They've got no toxins in them.
Wow.
They're toxin free.
True, that's so true. You're right. Very
They drink their own piss in the womb.
That's right. That's so true. And
they
then why do you gravitate to a baby? Because it's new and it smells beautiful and it's youthful.
Toxin free.
Full of energy.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, there you go, guys. I hope we've given you something.
And their wee is clear. It is like water. It is crystal clear. So, they've got nothing in them. And if you go back to that, it makes sense. You possibly go back to blue eyes.
There you go. Like, give it a go, guys. Be your own experiment.
Exactly. You're never going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, it's all, completely clean, not antiseptic. What's the right word? But there's no toxins. It can't hurt you. In just 2 drops in each eye once a day. See how you go. If you're wearing glasses or, your eyesight's getting worse, better than, much cheaper than buying a pair of glasses, right? And going to an optometrist.
Oh my God. We've given you guys see what a rabbit hole this is. See what a rabbit hole this is, people out there. Like, you can go into this very, very, very far. And indeed we will. Every single show now until my brain stops thinking about it.
Lots of piss talk to come, guys.
Here we
Lots
go.
of piss take.
Taking midstream is just a myth. Every drop is precious. From the Vedic perspective, just like the other texts, it states use midstream urine. However, it is now proven all of it works, beginning, middle, end. As there is plenty of evidence of cures of incurables out there using full stream and use every golden drop, all of it. Where else it is? It's been proven with AIDS in Mexico and cancer patients in clinics. The Vedic verses described how the urine flow is like a snake, both the head and the tail can hurt you, which explains why people get hung up on the midstream theory. The next verse explains that this is based on tradition and superstition. Truth is every drop is sterile and precious. So that's the bit on it. Yeah, that's the bit on midstream, just to let you know.
It's recycling itself.
Yeah. I'll put that in the group too.
Yes. Hey, we're just getting started with this piss talk.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
There's so much to learn. It's
comment.
fascinating. There's so many good people out there that alchemize and, even the evolve with the sacred geometry, and we've all got our own unique imprints.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, well, we'll have to get
Fiona Gardner
in another podcast. I think
there's heaps of people to interview. There's heaps.
Yeah,
Heaps.
there is a lot that we covered.
Geez, Campbell, we've got to wrap it up, man, because
We
we're
do,
this
man. We've been
overload.
going for like 2.5 hours.
I don't even want anyone else thinking about this till they go and try their pee.
Yeah, go and
Can I say how fantastic this journey has been? It's been an absolute joy and such a blast. And for anyone who's thinking about doing Kelly and Campbell's next fast, do it.
Get
You'll
on.
be blown away. And thank you to everyone in the group.
Yeah.
It's just been so fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie.
There
Thank
will
you.
be another water fast coming up in 3 or 4
Me
weeks.
too.
Which you all know.
Me too. Thank you.
And thank you all, guys, for being here and participating and sharing your wisdom. Like, none of this would have happened without you guys.
Campbell, you're interrupting everyone's thank you.
You guys are fucking
I want to
legends.
hear.
You want to give it to me? Give me the
Yeah.
mic.
Yeah,
Love
I
and kisses.
100% agree. Go, Angela.
No, thank you, guys. This has been amazing. Yeah. And they've been so supportive, and everyone in the group has been so supportive of all of us. It's a beautiful experience, and it's fun. We've had so much fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, me too. I just want to say the deepest gratitude, guys, to Kelly and Campbell. You guys, legends, extraordinaire, and the rest of my fasting crew family. This has been such an amazing experience for me personally, and I'm so hyped. I haven't finished my fast today. I'm planning on going for 11 days.
Woo!
Me too. I'm
at least because 11 seems like a groovy number to me, and I'll see how I feel on day 11. So I'll update you on the next little catch up we have. But yeah, Edwina, I 100%. Anybody out there in Tartaria land or autodidactic land, you need to be on the next fast, because this has been an extraordinary journey.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
From
agree.
the bottom and top of my heart.
Yeah, thanks, Campbell and Kelly. Like, I want to be a Breatharian when I grow up, and if it wasn't for you guys putting on that show up in Mulaney and all this journey, and I was like, fuck, my brain just lit up. I was like, all the things I've feared in life, I don't have to fear anymore. I was just going, wow, it's a pathway.
Thanks, mate. Yeah.
I'd like to say thank you too.
Thank you, mate.
And I'd like to say thank you very much. I'm so grateful for this group, and Campbell and Kelly for inspiring me for my actions on Friday night. I'm just so grateful. And it's just been so much of a mind expansion. And then once you expand your mind, it will never shrink back. And I'm just so grateful for what I've learned in all these conversations we've had, and reading all the posts on the site that we're on. It's just so good. People are just so beautiful, and I thank all of you so much. I love you.
Thank you, John.
I'd like
Who was that?
Can I say thank you too?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
I'd like to say thank you because it's just been so enlightening, everybody. The information that has just spewed forward has been absolutely enlightening and confirming to me. And my old theory is, if you really want to know how to survive, go and ask an 80-year-old what they ate and what they did. Some of them have got stories that you'll go, mate, we didn't even think you'd do that with that. It's castor oil and that. They're full of them, old things that you could do with them that have all just been lost. And us all talking brings it back together because we talk to different people and we learn. And it's just enlightening that you've brought us all together for it. And I thank you for that so gratefully.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Verity.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Wow. It comes to an end, guys. It's been an epic week. It's been amazing. So you can join us on the next one in a couple of months. We will be back. And in the words of Jeff Fennick, we love yous. We love yous all.
All right, everyone. What an amazing experience. What a fascinating and fun podcast. I hope everyone's got so much out of that. Lots of new thoughts for everyone to digest and chew on in the community. And wow, it's just been our privilege, our honor. We had no expectations and it's just blown it out of the water. This is like being a tour of our inwards. It's been an inner tour. This is Bosnia for the butthole, my friends. And it's just been divine. All right, you guys all have the most amazing week, and we'll be back next Friday with Tartaria, Australia.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bless.